As the turn began, player A gets the first move, and immediately everyone except player B, who's a red, that would be A, D, E, F, agreed to order player B to execute the Tsar, to defend him from the whites, primarily because player B has a strong white position and could use the Tsar for military purposes. B, of course, refused. A purge was made. It ended up with a counter-purge roll. Player B chose not to do a counter-purge because he'd be on the worst table. Okay, this is the beginning of turn 5. That was the last time that units get replaced, because the game turn interface happens, first the indication is moved, and then replacements are placed. So there's actually only 4 replacement turns, turns 2 through 5. And this actually happened on turn 5. So what happened? Well, one of the biggest pieces of news is the last thing that happened right at the very end of the turn. Player C, who, if you remember, was the only white player absolutely devoted to white, ran up and grabbed Tver. And if he's able to take Petrograd or Tver, I believe it is, that prevents any red replacements for that turn. In doing so, he had to leave the good units from the Ukraine that he was paying for out of the gold. So he figured, well, I'll grab the points for the gold too, and he shipped that overseas, outside of one of the ports, probably Odessa. What else has happened? Well, red and green combined to wipe out the white units over in the Baltic states. But otherwise, we're seeing a lot of new white units. Not a lot of people committed with white leaders, though. Right now, the only white leaders we have, B has one, and E has one. Both of them obviously have, oh, C has another one here. Both of them obviously have significant red interest as well. Now, in terms of victory points, people are going to have to start really choosing which side they want to win. Obviously, C is decided, and D as well. They don't have a lot of choices, although D actually killed a bunch of white units. Or no, he's only killed white units, yeah. D is committed to red. F lost all his Poles, and one of the options would have been for C to go wipe out the Poles. He only had one leader over there, so he could only do one thing. That would either be Tver, the Poles, or defend himself in the Ukraine. He decided that trying to get a white victory is his only chance of winning, because he has no points towards a red victory. And I think that's pretty close to it. We got pretty heavy red points on E and F. B also has some fair mixed points. Oh wait, E and F have a good mix of points too. So I'm going to have to look at points and try to make a guess. A looks like they're just out of it, although they do have significant units on the board, I believe. So everybody's going to have to do a count of points and try to see which side they really want to be on at this point. So I did a quick scoring to settle what the point situation was and to see where people lay. And D is in the lead on red with 46 points. B is second at like 34 plus 5 if they kill the Tsar to 39, or hold on to him. So that's 39 points, so that's about a 7-point swing for their choice there. Whereas for white, E has 35, and B only would have 20 plus 5 if they can get the Tsar down there. So at this point, it's looking like B is going to swing red. Everybody else is largely already decided. E probably wants to go white, but they have a significant amount of points in red as well. their actual only force on the board, I believe, is white. So, oh no, there's a red unit. So the current points are going to determine kind of which way people are leaning, probably, and that's I just wanted to show. So here we are on the 6th turn. There's only one white stack left on the board. It's E's. If that leader goes, I think the game still can continue. I'd have to look that up for you guys. Anyway, what's going on? Well, a lot of points to be gotten down here for the reds off those blue pieces, as well as off E's units. And E is involved in them as well. On the other hand, there's still a lot of white forces sitting in the Cossacks region and some in Siberia. And player D has both the Ukraine and the Baltic states in supporting him. Almost as though if he wins, those are going to receive freedom as their own little, maybe socialist states. Interesting thing, player F threw the Poles into Tver, and that was to attack some reds. The whites have already been wiped out. C has no more pieces on the board. Let's look at points very quickly. I did an add up before looking at this, and this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, A, D, and F are strongly committed to a red victory. However, B could win red, but he could also win in the white side. It's a harder call because E is really, really strong in white. So right now what I'm thinking is that E, who has the one white stack on the board, doesn't want to kill it. He wants to see if he can create a white victory. That's going to be a tough task with what's sitting on the board. And player B has at the very least the option to ship the Tsar away. On the other hand, that's his ace in the hole for a shot at winning a red victory against player D, who has a strong position in red, and also is keeping people out of the Ukraine and Baltic and can use that terrain advantage to his advantage. Yeah, the other thing. I'm still not done with my counters for Samurai. And something in me is aching so bad to play this now. It's a big game. I'll really, really strongly apologize to the person I said I'd be getting Samurai reviewed within the month if I do end up playing that. I'd kind of like to play something small so that I can keep my, not exactly promise, but suggestion. All right, I'm out of time.